This podcast is brought to you by Collector Legion. For all your single and gaming needs, there is no substitute. And if you're lucky enough to find yourself in LA with time to play, check them out for the best in-person gaming experience this side of the Pro Tour. Welcome to Split Second Sorcerers. I'm your host with the most top decks, Isaac Sears, and today on the pod, we have the quarterfinalist of the last Grand Prix Phoenix, a contender of this year's Arena Champs, and last Cube season's perfect 15 out of 15 league record holder. It's
the one, the only
Max Millickman, or as you may otherwise know them, Snap Bolt!
Holy crap, what an intro. Thanks so much. What's up?
Well, what's up is we need to know, what was the first card you remember opening out of a booster pack?
You know, I was actually just thinking about this question. Somebody was like, oh, the first card I opened was Debtor's Knell. And I was like, I cannot remember the first rare or first card. Like, I have no clue what it could be. The first card I really remember, like, oh, this card is so sweet, right when I started playing, was Rocks. 6 mana.
Oh, yeah.
Can't be blocked or generate for 3. I was like, this card is, how can you beat it?
No.
You can't beat it.
He can be blocked. He assigns damage as if he was unblocked.
Yeah, then you regenerate, so.
And he regenerates. Hell yeah.
I'll take Rocks, yeah.
Yeah, that was a 6th edition banger.
Yeah.
Foil in the promo pack. Might have been my first card that I remember opening as well.
Yeah, sick art, too, yeah.
Oh, busted. Well, on to things more difficult. What was the most challenging match or game you have ever won?
Okay, the first one that comes to mind for this is, it was actually at the first PT I played in, which wasn't a real PT, it was one of the arena PTs during COVID, and it was the last match, and it was basically like, if I win, I get a pretty decent prize, and if I lose, I don't. And then I was against Aspiring Spike, and I was like, oh man, this is going to be tough, this guy plays a ton, and he was on this blue-white Yorion deck with like 3 Yorion main, just like 1 Yorion companion, flicker a bunch of stuff, and I was on Bant good stuff, Uro, Teferi, and our game went so long, and it was just like so grindy, and I ended up getting the win, but it was really hard fought. And then I remember, like, since he was streaming later, like watching back bits and pieces, and he was like, oh wow, my opponent like played really well in the last round. I was like, okay, that felt good. Yeah,
let's go.
So that was a grind. It was fun.
All right, well, alongside other things that made a big difference, what's the most game-changing Magic lesson you learned?
Game-changing Magic lesson I learned, I think this one is, I just really learned patience and not getting upset when things don't go your way. It's more like the not getting tilted in Magic. I used to get more upset, but I really don't get tilted anymore, and I think that has taught me patience, basically. Just like when you play a lot of Magic, you lose a lot, and you know, when things don't go your way in life or when you're playing Magic, just learn to make the best of the situation you're in. So I think patience.
What's your favorite non-Magic the Gathering story on a Magic the Gathering trip?
All right. This question, it's like, when I go play Magic, I'm usually like, I travel to the city and maybe I go out for dinner, but usually I'm playing Magic like the whole time. So I'd say my favorite story, one that I can think of, is we were in San Jose, and I actually worked at Fairmont Hotels at the time, and we were staying at the Fairmont in San Jose. And I was with my brother and another friend, and we went down to the lobby, and they had like a sushi like day of the week, and we would get half off food and alcohol. So we basically just were like hung out in the lobby all night, just like ordered so much sushi. I'm a pretty weak eater, so I couldn't eat that much, and they just kept ordering sushi half off. We just kept getting drinks, and it was a ton of fun. It's just kind of like a memorable moment with my brother, not playing Magic, but again, usually just jamming games the whole time. So.
What's the worst card you've registered in a constructed tournament?
Worst card I've registered. I'd like to think I don't play bad cards, but you could probably name some bad cards I play. I guess one that stands out is in Standard. I played a lot of Blue-White Control, and usually the deck was like 4 Jace Memory Adept, 4 Sphinx's Rev, Supreme Verdict, but I also just would jam 4 Jace Memory Adept, so I'd have 8 Jace, and 4 Jace memory adapt. Your hand is like 4 copies of Jace, and you're like, play one, they're counter it, play one, counter it, and then you're like, well, this 4th Jace memory adapt.
There's no way they can beat this one.
And that was a bad card, but fun card.
What's your favorite constructed format? Year, sets, whatever.
Let's see. I really do enjoy playing Modern. I'd have to say Pauper is my favorite overall. Those are my top 2, I'd say. And specifically, it's more difficult now, but Pauper, like about 10 years ago or so, was like a lot more wide open. So there was a lot more room to brew. The format wasn't as powerful. It wasn't as like... Now I guess it's pretty unforgiving. You try to brew now and like it's like Cold Author Red, just like kill you super fast. Affinity, just like draw their entire deck. So it's a little more difficult now, but I'd say Pauper in general and Pauper, 10 years ago when you could just do crazy things and have them be reasonable.
It was a brewer's bunkhouse.
Yeah, exactly. And it was unexplored at the time, so it was easier to be like, wow, nobody's playing this card, it's good. It's more explored now.
Yeah. What's your favorite tourney venue?
I'd have to say now I live in San Diego, and the San Diego Convention Center, just because it's right here, it's nice, it's, open, it's easy for me, because I live here, I don't have to travel to it, so really nice, yeah.
What game, book, show inspires you to play or get better at Magic most frequently?
Not like a mainstream show, doesn't really like relate to me for Magic. I guess I'd say watching pros play Magic is really what inspires me to be better. I've always watched a lot of Magic content. That's how I got into competitive Magic. Watching a lot of LSV content actually, like drafting. So I'd say that inspires me to be better. I'm just thinking like a show, but like Queen's Gambit and just like seeing them like, play like chess at such a high level. That's cool. That inspires me to be better, but just watching Magic, watching good players play makes me want to be better.
If Magic stopped existing tomorrow, what would you do to fill the void?
I have played other video games in the past. I don't know if I'd revert back into that, but I've played a lot of StarCraft. I've played League of Legends. I could see myself getting more back into that. Honestly, I could see myself picking up poker as well. I spend a lot of time with my fiance, but probably watch more shows with her. We do a lot of like watching shows and movies, and I'd spend more time that I would be playing Magic probably doing that.
What is the biggest or most embarrassing punt you've ever made?
Oh man, this is a joke between us, so I think you already know what I'm going to say. But the joke is, I'll tell the joke first. It's like, why don't you just equip Batterskull? And I forget what it was. I don't know if it was a GP or a 1K or 2K.
It was the event before. It was like a PPTQ or a PTQ. No, it was a PTQ before GP Reno.
Okay, yeah, that sounds right. And I was just playing Blue-White Stoneblade, and my excuse is that I was probably tired. I didn't sleep probably the night before. Wasn't playing well that day at all. And I had like a grindy match, and you came up after, and you were like, I just lost, and I was like kind of tilted. And then you go, why didn't you just equip Batterskull? And I looked down at the board, and I was like, oh my god. I just like had the win sitting there on board. I could have just like equip attack game. And
your opponent had Phyrexian. What's the 2-1 that stops activated abilities?
Not Censor.
Whatever that Chungamungus. Yeah. And you named Stoneforge, and so you didn't bounce Batterskull and put it into play with Stoneforge, but you could have just equipped it to your Stoneforge, attack for 5 lifelink, and then had it back to block his.
Instead, I was just like,
creatures.
Instead, I was just like,
I guess I'm dead.
I was all upset. I'm like, oh, God, I thought I had this. You're like, you could have just equipped.
Well, I didn't ask it to be rude. I just did not understand. I was like, what did I miss? Like, I can't. I looked at the board for like 5 minutes. I was like, I don't. Why is Max just not equipping this? It's so easy.
So it comes up like just like from time to time, even when it's like there's no Batterskull involved. It's like, could you just equip?
Occasionally the text message, why didn't you equip Batterskull?
Yeah.
What's your favorite card to try and wheel?
I'm going to borrow one from my brother on this one and say Dark Confidant. He just absolutely loves that card, and it's like our joke when we're cubing together. It's like pack one, pick one. There's like Black Lotus. He's like highlights Bob. It's like, no, we're not doing that. But we do like to take that card, and we'll put it in any deck. We have like a bunch of 6 and 7 drops, and honestly, I've maybe lost one game. I can't even recall. I don't think I've lost any games to like just taking a bunch of damage. I think it's actually still underrated. It's good. It's good.
Who's the first player you remember idolizing?
I kind of mentioned this earlier, but I'd say LSV. I just liked his persona, his attitude about the game, and just like the way he played was kind of how I wanted to play the game. So definitely LSV. And one thing that stands out is he would say greed is good, and he would just make these plays so greedy. But that's kind of how I still play today. So LSV.
Would you rather win at 1 life or on turn 5 of turns?
I'd rather win at 1 life. I like to stabilize and then come back, feel comfortable, even out a little.
Like control player.
Yeah.
Now, if you could change one thing about Magic, bannings, unbanning, structure, what would it be?
Yeah. I don't think that I am, better at making ban decisions or not than, whoever is in charge of that. I guess I want more clarity on why things are being banned or not being banned. For example, like the Arena Champs is historic, and, they pre-banned Spreading Seas that's about to come out, but Bowmaster and the Ring are illegal. They're like, that's good to go. Yeah, let's. I'm like, wait a second. Why? This doesn't make any sense. Is anybody watching this format? I don't know. So I'm not saying to ban those cards necessarily, but like, why?
What's that? All right. Well, Mom says the Dino Nuggies are done, so we're gonna have to wrap up this pod with this one last question: fries or onion rings?
Fries. Easy. I can crush fries.
You've never beaten onion rings a day in your life? Unbeaten matchup, no one's ever done it.
Fries is one of my favorite food. I can't eat a lot, but I could eat a lot of fries. That's one thing. I can take down fries.
All right, as we come to a close here, do you have any upcoming tournaments the fans can sweat you in, or perhaps a place where they can find you or your content?
Okay. I have made some content. I'm not making it consistently right now, but I have a small YouTube channel, youtube.com/snapbolt. Mostly Pauper content on there, but you can go check me out there. I am qualified for the Arena Champs, which is going to be the biggest, highest level tournament I've ever played in, so I'm really looking forward to that. I have always wanted to play in a paper PT, so not quite there yet, but root for me in Arena Champs coming up October 7th.
Well, that does it for this episode. Thanks to my guest, Max Milken, aka Snapbolt, Wizards of the Coast, and you, the viewer. Also, if you have any guests or questions you'd like to see asked on this program, feel free to leave it on the comments or hit me up on Twitter at LikeIkes. And next time, folks, remember, it's handshake, sign the slip, then throw your O3 deck in the trash, not the other way around.
Thanks, Ike.